Forum Theater Workshop. The aim of this workshop is to examine ways of managing other people's emotions and improving one's emotional intelligence through theater. Total duration 70 minutes. Instructions. The session is divided into 3 stages. First stage, warm-up. Short warm-ups aimed at helping the participants feel comfortable with each other and with expressing emotions in front of each other. As having this kind of atmosphere, safe environment and trust is crucial when the participants will later be asked to present parts of their personality and emotions. The participants are divided into smaller groups and form small trust circles, with one participant of each group standing in the middle of the circle. The participant is asked to close eyes, fold hands, relax, and slowly start leaning to one side, and the friends around in the circle need to gently push him or her from one side to the other to prevent her or him from falling on the ground. The person in the middle of the circle needs to trust their friends that they won't let him or her fall down. Several participants change turns in standing in the middle of the circle. Duration 5 minutes. Second stage, introduction. A series of short theater exercises aimed at bringing the participants closer to the focus of the session. The facilitator puts 6 pieces of paper in the corners of the room, and each paper has a word of emotion written on it: anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. The participants are asked to choose one piece of paper where they need to go and let themselves go deep into the emotion written there and demonstrate it visually, like a statue and without speaking. The facilitator asks the participants why they chose to demonstrate that particular emotion. Duration 5 minutes. Next task, image theater. The participants are divided into 4 groups and given a piece of paper with a word written on it by the facilitator. Then the participants have few minutes to prepare and together make a still image or a sculpture of that word, and the other groups need to guess the word. Possible words. First round: confusion, affection, satisfaction, dissatisfaction, depression. Second round: euphoria, indifference, pain, shame, pride. Duration 15 minutes. Next task. As a continuation of the previous exercise, the facilitator asks few participants of the pride image to stay as they are, demonstrating pride, and explains that now he is going to say different words, and that the rest of the participants are invited to join the pride image in order to demonstrate the new word. For example, the facilitator says the word smile, and a participant positions himself or herself in the image, making a sculpture of a person smiling. Whenever the facilitator says a word, a participant needs to join the image and demonstrate that word. Other words announced by the facilitator: help, domination, loneliness, aggression, bravery, panic, guilt, freedom, power, fear, authority, self-confidence, curiosity, love, pleasure, friendship, life. Duration 5 minutes. Third stage, performance. The facilitator explains to the group that he will set up an improvised forum theater, asks for 3 volunteers to take the roles of a protagonist, antagonist, and an accompanying character. Explains that the facilitator will be the joker, and the rest of the group will be the audience. Informs the group that the scene is a room in a youth center. Briefs the volunteers and asks them to improvise the following scenes. First scene. The protagonist and his friend, the accompanying character, play table football, and in one moment the protagonist unintentionally breaks the table football. The youth worker in charge, the antagonist, comes to them and starts yelling, blames the protagonist for the damage and expels them from the youth center. The protagonist tries to defend himself a bit, but the youth worker doesn't want to hear. Second scene. 3 days later, the protagonist and his friend return to the youth center, but the youth worker is standing at the entrance and doesn't allow the two to enter, saying that he doesn't want to see more problems and broken things inside, displaying inappropriate behavior toward the protagonist. For example, invasion of personal space, various forms of intimidation and acting in offensive way. The protagonist starts an argument with the youth worker while the friend is silent. Once the improvisation of the scenes is finished, the Joker says to the audience that the scenes will be repeated, and if anyone would do something different than what the protagonist, and not the antagonist, is doing, he or she should stand up and yell stop. The protagonist will then sit down, and the audience member is invited forward to show their solution to the moment and to continue improvising in order to improve the situation. The Joker continues to invite intervention from the audience, discussing the impact of each intervention with the group until the audience consensus is that the situation has improved. If any of the interventions are beyond the boundaries of reality, for example, a person magically produces a phone or something quite unrealistic happens, the Joker or a member of the audience can call magic. If the rest of the audience agrees that the intervention was magic indeed, the person intervening must find an alternative approach. Once the intervention is performed, the audience applauds, and the Joker, in the stage of reflection, invites the audience to discuss the proposed solution and to offer even more solutions. Reflection questions. Before the reflection questions, the facilitator reminds the participants that they are not trying to find only one answer. Reflection questions. What is the desire or will of the antagonist? What is the desire or will of the protagonist? Can this happen in real life? What could the protagonist have done differently? What do other people in the scene think? What can be done to change the situation? What can you do in your own life to help ensure you will not be in the same situation as the main character in this performance? What advice would you give to your friends or family faced with a similar situation? What is at the root of the problem or oppression? What part of the system is supporting the problem or oppression? The state, law, institutions, the rules of society? Oppression produces a myriad of powerful emotions, and in which part were the emotions most intense for you? If you could choose one word or some emotion to describe this session, what would it be?